Hi, so today I'm going to be sharing with you everything you need to know on UK self-sponsorship, the routes in 2025, the step-by-step process for and how you need to go about this to be able to self-sponsor yourself for your visa in the UK in 2025. For starters, I wanted to just say that there is no route as far as the Home Office provisions are concerned, that is the UK self-sponsorship route. It is just, immigration officer or advisors and lawyers who have come up with this route. And it's almost like a combination of different routes or different visa routes to make this um, type or route of visa. I will share my screen just to share a little bit of what this is about today, and then we can go into this. So, the UK sponsorship route, like I said, is a strategic approach that is combining different immigration routes to achieve settlement in the UK. And it involves like using host of different other routes to obtain your sponsorship license for a company that you own in the UK or that's carrying on business in the UK. And then through that sponsorship license, you are able to issue yourself a certificate of sponsorship to be able to apply for skilled worker visa. I would say that for anyone who is looking to go through this route, there are four main steps to keep in mind. And that's like what will guide you to know exactly what you should be doing and how you should go about it. The first on my list would be that you need to establish or you need to, register a company in the UK. This, of course, gives you business freedom. You are able to also take advantage of the state-of-art facilities that the UK has, especially the UK business environment. The benefits, from government, private sector support, just the Western global market, and all that the resources, that is applicable or available to you as a UK business owner. And let's not forget that you're also able to settle with your family. So the number one on that step would be to establish a company in the UK. That's your first step. And then your second step would be to get a skilled worker sponsorship license for your company. A sponsorship license for your company. You've registered the company, you've done all that you need to do, and now you apply for a sponsorship license. And when you get the license, you use the license to issue a series for yourself, which will be your third step. And then you apply for a skilled worker visa after. Um, Eligibility and suitability criteria. So I wanted to say that to be able to register a business in the UK, you have to be at least 18 years and above. You don't necessarily need to be resident in the UK. So if you're an international, person or a foreign person trying to get, or a foreign businessman trying to get a business going in the UK and you're not resident in the UK, you definitely can get it going. What's more important is that your UK have to have, or your UK business have to have a genuine UK company presence. So it's not just enough to say, I want to register a company in the UK. Your company must have UK presence, right? You have to be 18 and below to be a director in that company. And yes, you would also then need to obtain a skilled worker sponsorship license. One of the things that is key when you're trying to obtain a sponsorship license is that you have to have somebody who is settled as a director in your company. So either they are settled, that means they have their indefinitely to remain, or they are a British citizen. Very key in order for you to be able to obtain a skilled worker sponsors license. And then you need to, of course, get a valid certificate of sponsorship for yourself. Once your company is genuine, you've established a company, you've opened an account with bank, you have everything going for the business, you're able to use some of those, registration documents and other things that you will have gathered on the way to be able to obtain your license, and then the license can make you issue sponsorship or certificate of sponsorship to yourself. One of the key things to note with establishing a business in the UK around creating the um, registering the company with company house would be that, again, like I said, you have to be 18. You can either be the one holding 100% of the shares, or you could also be holding the shares with somebody else. When you register your company with Company House, then you need to also register with HRMC. HRMC is like the tax master in the UK, and then you will need to register with payee. So all of those things around taxes, payee, account officers, reference number, all of that, you can get them done through an accountant. When you register your company in the UK, you will need to also engage the services of an accountant who will get some of these, account relating documents done for you. And when they have all the reference numbers, you'll be able to use it to apply for a business account. A business account with any bank is possible, especially when you're a resident in the UK. You can literally walk up to any bank to open it. In fact, as soon as you register your company with Company House, you will get a lot of notification from a lot of banks looking to engage, asking you to engage their banking relationship with them. So yes, but because of those who are not going to be residents in the UK at the time, and they're considering owning a business in the UK, it's not all banks that will be happy to work with you when they know that you're not within the UK. But assuming you already have somebody on your directorate list who is settled, that should, of course, be a walk in the park for you. So, yes, it's very important that you are strategic about the people who you make directors on your company, because, anyway, to be able to get a sponsorship license, you would need somebody on the team, somebody who is a director in the company to be settled. So, either they have indefinite to remain or they are British citizens. Also, the banks you can work with are banks that are authorized by PRA or regulated by the FCA. So some of these online banks, I don't want to mention any name, but some of these online banks that don't have any physical building in the UK might not be your go-to. But yeah, most high street banks are definitely regulated or authorized by PRA or FCA. Then you need to have like a premises where you can call your own space, like office space. So if you're not within the UK, definitely you will need to get a office space. But if you're within the UK, your residence, so your home residence or your place where you live can be your office space at the same time. Whether it's leased, whether it is your own, you can make it your office space. You can use it as the address that you use for your office, or um, you can also use virtual addresses. So there are some organizations who offer what we call virtual addresses. So you would pay them, subscribe to their virtual address packages, and then you're able to use the address all year round as long as your packages subsist. But I would say that where you're using virtual address, which is very possible to use, you can subscribe to packages where they are able to send all your correspondences that goes to them to you either in courier or via email as scan. Either ways, your office premises is very important, whether it's on lease or whether you rent it or whether it's your home that you've decided to turn into office space. Where you're using your home, especially where the home is leased or rented, please do not forget to inform your landlord that you will be using your home in the meantime as your office space until you're able to get your own office space, right? Also, while you are, trying to get your sponsorship license, one of the things that you also need to um, bear in mind is that the vacancy that you would be issuing the certificate of sponsorship for yourself has to be a genuine vacancy, of course, and it has to be in the appropriate skill level. There are so many, policies going out now, especially with threshold of salary and even the skill level. So make sure that you are sponsoring yourself for a role that is in the appropriate skill level and that the salary that the company is going to be paying you for that role is appropriate to the current ongoing salary threshold. Please, it's very important that you meet the necessary salary threshold. If not, when you apply for your visa, you will be refused. Also, if you have to pay the immigration skill charge, do not forget that as the employer, because you literally double as both the employer and the employee in this case, where your company is sponsoring you. Also, you might need to show English proficiency, competency, depending on whether you are currently in the UK and you've studied in the UK, or whether you are outside the UK. You also need to show that you have funds in your account, in your company account, such that the salary that the company is supposed to pay you is available to you, to the company to pay, so that you are not relying on public funds when you get sponsored by your own company. There are other things to note, especially as the person who your company is sponsoring. You have to have relevant industry knowledge or skills or qualification. So if you decide that your company will be sponsoring you as the manager, then you have to show that you have the industry knowledge or skill or qualification to be the manager of that company. And then, well, you're setting up the company, make sure you have a proper business concept or business plan, a viable business, because it's not just about registering the business, it's also about ensuring that the business is viable enough to stand the test of time. Um, yeah, adequate financial resources is important. There's also the requirement of you appointing a UK settled resident or as authorizing officer. As I mentioned earlier, to apply for your work sponsorship license, you would definitely need to have a director on board who is settled or is, so by settlement I mean as a PR, permanent indefinite leave to remain, or they are British citizen, and it's this person who will also be appointed as the authorizing officer. So the law actually provides that you have at least one person who is the authorizing officer, another person. So there are three key personnel: one person who is the authorizing officer, one person who is the key contact, who is like the key person who communicates with the Home Office, and then there is also the level one user. The law provides that there should be these three key personnel, but also the law is, covers that it can be one and same person who actually, do the roles. You don't need three people for these roles. It could be one person who performs all the three different roles. Now, when you're trying to apply for your license, it's very important that your company is genuine and lawfully trading in the UK, and they must have done so for at least 1 month. So before you can, bring this application for sponsorship, you need to show that your company has actually been trading for at least a month. So you can't just register today and then you go and start applying for sponsorship the next day or something. But I would reckon that at least it will take you around about that time anyway, because to even get your bank openings sorted, it could take another like maybe 15 to 20 days to get a bank account sorted. So yes, that would definitely be something that will take time anyway. Also, you have to ensure that you are capable of carrying out your sponsor's duty. It is not enough to get, sponsorship license. You have to be able to, hold the license and do your duties effectively. You must be offering genuine employment that actually meets the salary threshold and the skill level requirement of the skilled workers route. So you register your company, that is step one. Your step two will be to apply for your sponsor's license, and then step three will be to, you know, um, get your COS. Before we get to the COS bit anyway, one of the things you need to consider around applying for sponsorship license is that there are some fees, some home office fees, and then time frame for sponsorship license also. The home office charges around 536 for small companies, and then there is a thousand and so for larger companies. When you go to home office website, all of these specific um, fees are there. Time frame for standard processing of sponsorship license is 8 weeks. If you want it to be quicker than that, you can pay for priority, which is an additional £500, in which case you will get your response back from home office in 10 working days. So please, while you are trying to obtain your skilled worker sponsorship license, you have to make sure that your business is genuine in the UK. You have to make sure that you are able to comply with all your sponsors' duties, and this, of course, it involves, making sure that you report where there's a need to report. You are keeping all the right records of the staff that are working with you, so like right and work checks, and that you are complying with all the UK immigration law. Because Home Office can visit at any time to audit your system and be sure that you're doing the right thing. Also, there has to be genuine employment. You must offer and meet salary and skill level requirements. Don't just, issue CS for the fun of it. Ensure that you're able to pay yourself for the role that you say you are taking on, and that you have capacity to meet the salary criteria. Now, when you're trying to apply for your certificate of sponsorship. What are the documents that you would need? For the sponsorship license, there are 4 major documents that the Home Office require, but you can put more than that anyway. The UK bank statement, that's why I said an account. You need to have a bank account before you can apply for a sponsorship, license. You need something that's called the Employer's Liability Insurance Certificate. It's just an insurance document. So literally, when you start your business, one of the key things you need to do will be to insure that business. And how much you need to insure your business, the insurance worth of how much you need to, insure your business for will be dependent on what kind of business you are currently undergoing. The more human life will be affected by your business, the most likely your insurance, will go up. I know, for example, people who are doing care, they have to insure for as high as sometimes 500,000 and all of that. So it depends on what kind of business you are, currently going on. Of course, if your business also require you to have some certain, licenses, you need to make sure you get those out of the way. For example, a care business, you need to be CQC registered if you are operating in England, and if you're operating in Scotland, you need to be care inspectorate, regulated, and you must have done all of that before you come to the point of trying to get your sponsorship, license. Again, employers liability insurance is very important. It's a certificate that you will get from, when you opt for an insurance policy. There's also the VAT certificate. Not all businesses require VAT. For example, care do not require VAT, so you might not need a VAT certificate. But for businesses where VAT are important, then you will need a VAT certificate. You will have registered for it, and then you attach your certificate as part of the document that is required of you. Then the HRMC document, there's a pay, there's account reference. There's so many of these, account related document or taxes related document that you also need to have. When you register with HRMC, all these documents will be made available to you, and then you'll be able to attach it to your application. Also, you need an organization chart that shows, everyone in the company, who is who does what, and what are the vacancies that are available in the company. So yes, an organization chart just to show the directors and everyone who is currently, part of the organization. Then you need some form of, company details to fill some part of the application form. Now, when you've submitted all of that, you've made the payment that you need to pay, and if it is priority, in 10 days, you'll get a response back. If it is not priority, in about 8 weeks, you get a response back for your sponsorship license. Once that is approved, then you now apply and assign a defined COS to yourself, assuming you are outside the UK. If you are within the UK, you assign an undefined COS to yourself. Again, there's defined and there's undefined COS, and I'll say that the basic difference between both is that a defined COS would be to an immigrant coming from outside the UK, and an undefined COS would be to somebody who is within the UK. This COS must be issued within 3 months, and you must apply for the visa application within that 3 months. Now, a few of the details that will be needed for certificate of sponsorship is just, basic biodata of who is getting the COS, and then when the start date of the job will be, and then any other necessary confirmation, especially as regards whether they've been sponsored before or not. Again, do not forget to make sure that the job role or the job position that you're putting yourself up for is one that meets the necessary skill requirements, and that also your salary requirements are met. All of this around, skilled occupation appendix and everything around skilled skills and levels, salary threshold, and all the ongoing rates for the occupational code are all provided for on the Home Office website. There are some kind of, positions that might be able to trade points, and those are some of those positions that are on the immigration salary list, which are, for relevant PhD, rate, and all of these immigration salary lists. There are some occupations that are covered under here. It just kind of either reduces the amount that needs to be shown in salary, or where they are new entrants, they might have an ongoing rate for salary that is a bit lower than what is expected of the general public. Other than that, please ensure that you go through the SOC codes, the immigration salary list, new entrants, so that you see and you can identify the different occupations, those that are on the shortage list, those that allow sponsorship on lower salaries, those that are, you are able to sponsor regardless of their skill level. All of that is provided for on the Home Office website. Now, after you've secured your COS, all that will be left will be to apply for your visa. And when you apply for your visa, you again submit all the necessary documents, the COS being the most important one, to show that you have the valid genuine job vacancy at the appropriate skill level, and that you have your position aligns with what the company is looking for. You meet all the salary threshold, you've paid the immigration skill charge if it is required for your job role, and yeah, just attach all of that and apply for your visa application. When you have to submit within the 3 months, and when you do that, you get your decision. If it is within the UK, you get it around 8 weeks. If it is outside the UK, you get it around 3 weeks. Um, and I would say that if you are looking for a total timeline from when you open your company to when you are able to actually apply for your visa and arrive with the UK or switch your visa within the UK, I would say you need at least roughly 3 to 6 months to be able to achieve that. And I wanted to mention that, as I said, there are three key personnel that the Home Office require that you have on board for your COS SMS management. Even though one person can be the same person, that one person is preferable to be a settled person or somebody who is a British citizen. Again, when you are issuing your COS, you issue undefined COS for yourself if you are within the UK, or defined COS if you are outside the UK. Of course, there is Home Office fee to pay, and there's extra charge to pay if you are not under the health and care, and your dependents and partners can apply at the same time as yourself. If you're outside the UK, you need to pay around £719 for 3 years and above, and about 1,420 per person if you are outside the UK for 5 years and above, for 3 years and above. And then if you're inside the UK, it's lesser than that. Again, all of these fees and the exact accurate ongoing visa application fee rates for this 2025 are on the UKVI website. You also need to pay IHS if you are again on a skilled worker route and it's not the health and care. IHS fees is 1,035 per year now, as at the recording of this video. Again, all updated fees would always be on the Home Office website as soon as these fees are updated. If your job is on the shortage occupation list or immigration salary list, or all of those temporary shortage occupation list as it is called now, you will need to pay lesser for visa fees. But if it is not on the shortage list, then you will need to pay the Home Office visa fees. And after obtaining your visa, of course, as the company, like I said, you double as both the employer and the employee in this case. You have to make sure that you stay compliant to your visa, stay compliant to your visa processing, and ensure that you do not miss any important details that you need to, so that you don't get your license curtailed, in which case your visa will also be cancelled. So please ensure that you stay compliant. When you need to apply for extension, apply for extension. Fulfill all your sponsorship duties, monitor your immigration status, keep all records, maintain all the contacts you need to maintain, track attendance, and fulfill all reporting duties. If your COS covers 5 years, then you can apply for indefinite leave to remain. If it is less than 5 years, you can extend your visa to reach the threshold that you need. But your company must continue to maintain a genuine job vacancy. When you're on a skilled worker route or on a skilled worker visa, you have the opportunity to work an additional 20 hours weekly in addition to the job that you're currently, working to fulfill your sponsored role. So you have that grace to work 20 extra hours anywhere else. Of course, it has to be in the same occupational code level or the shortage occupation list if it's a job that is under the shortage occupation list. As I said, the self-sponsorship route offers a unique pathway for ambitious entrepreneurs that are seeking to establish ventures in the UK, and it provides freedom and flexibility, and you don't need to rely on external employers. You just rely on your own company. Of course, after 5 years, you're able to apply for indefinite leave to remain as of now until the laws may be changed to 10 years. For now, you're able to apply after 5 years. And then after you get your indefinite leave to remain, you're able to apply for your British citizen 1 year after getting on the indefinite leave to remain route. So, yes, you can get your passport 1 year after ILR. If you need any further support or you need some form of clarity, you can reach out to the WhatsApp number on the screen, and we can give you specialized business and private client immigration matters, or just any information around business and management, or any consulting services around setting up your business in the UK, or using that as a route to self sponsorship. I hope this has been helpful. And if there are any questions, you can drop it in the comment section. I'll check them through and I will answer all your questions. Thanks for joining, and I hope that you achieve all your immigration dreams. Bye.